Hello, how are you? Hello, hello. Well, let me try to do this video quick. Okay, this video I just want to explain shortly. Let's because I'm closing the week. Okay, it's Friday, so I there's a lot of emails going on back and forth. I mean, unfortunately, I do try to do business in a different way, but that's the only version available right now, it seems. So I want to give a feedback about how things have been, what has happened this week, so everybody is on the same page for the next week. Okay. Uh, Number one, the case in Texas. Okay. The case in Texas. We have moved to criminal again. So I went back to the police. We had several conversations with the police officers in Plano, Texas, the station that I've been talking to, especially about this case. Okay. Um, so they are working on the case. It's going to be a new police report, more accurate with what really happened, because as I explained before, you do not just go to the police and you tell them, "Oh, please, can you just write me a police report with this?" There's a procedure, and the police, they do pray for these things not to happen. It's not that you go and they say, "Yes, we have more work." That does not exist. Okay, I just sometimes it's obvious to everybody, but I like to say this again just to make it clear. Everybody does understand reality. There is a big problem, the word today, which is to understand reality. Reality. Real. What's real? This is a real office. I am realistically closing a week. So this, I'm dressed. Look, there's my name here. Look. Where is it? Here, you see? Look, this is real. Look, this is a suit that has my name and it says Thailand 2017. So I can go to the police and say, "You see this? Thailand 2017. This was made in Thailand in 2000. It's more one evidence that I have been in Thailand, living, a resident. That's real. How come you have a tailored suit in Thailand? I mean, did you? Yes, I was there for 3 months. Okay." You don't do business like that. It's not that I went to Alibaba and I put enter and then I got a $20 million business out of Bangkok. It's not a lottery. It's not a game. It's not that I won the lottery. It's not that I won the lottery. Okay, so Texas. So the entire procedure during the looting last year, Texas is the one that I thought that would be the most serious, because I thought that the Texas they would be scared about, because all these people that I do business, they're not, they're high skilled. They have some high skills. So like I would never expect they to trust so much on corruption or whatever situation that they have the balls, or maybe just negligence, ignorance. I don't really know, but what motives made them really steal last year. So, but anyways, in this process, okay, my police reports, they happened as they were happening, so they were still recent. I still did not know where we were going. I was still negotiating. I was still expecting them to really come with a solution, and that was still too recent maybe. And so I went to the station. I went first in Dallas, the big headquarters of the police there. But that was even after, because before I was in the anyways, first I was at the police station in Tala in Ireland. Second, I was in Dublin. Okay, second I was at the Secret Service in Dublin, the headquarters of the police. And then the third, I went to the American Embassy in Dublin. Four, I go to the Dallas Police in Texas. Fifth, I go to the Plano Police in Texas. Sixth, I go to the Fort Lauderdale. No, I went to the courthouse in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and then I start to talk to attorneys there also in Texas, and then I go to the Fort Lauderdale Police, because that was the courthouse in Fort Lauderdale who advised me that I have to do a local report also, where my office is based in in the USA. My office is based in Broward County in Florida, in the USA, Fort Lauderdale. So that's why I have a police report from Port Everglades. But the police report from Port Everglades, they refer to the criminal activities that happened in Texas. Okay, that's Texas. So based on what happened in the case of Dr. Edmond, who's the attorney in Dublin, who's helping me here, he tried, and I was present when he made that call to the defendants, and they just hang up on his face. And and then I don't know if anybody here had the opportunity to talk to him. He does have a very serious, very professional tone of voice, and that's an attorney. That's a guy that represents the law, and that's a guy that's maybe he has 30 years of a career, and he's having a very polite and very decent conversation with the defendant about a case, and they just hang up. They just did this. They hung up on his face. So there was more faxes, more emails, no response. So anyways, okay, so go back to the police. So that's the stage this week. What happened this week, talking about the Wisconsin finest, White House specialties, Sunday Morning, the cheese people, that they embezzled about $8 million worth of contracts from me during the looting that I suffered last year in Dublin. So I went back to the police. I was this week maybe for, I would say, 3 hours total, because these cases are so complicated that you need to explain this and this, and they usually, what they do, they call from different times, that they call you back, and then you talk to, so probably they put it all together. They're probably watching the videos that they were recorded in the police station 1 year ago, so they put it all together. But I can see by their tone of voice, is like, is this really happening? You know, like why? Because the question that I get all the time is like, why people do those things? Like, why? You're serviced with a successful contract. You made somebody work on your behalf for like 6 full years. You are enjoying the benefits of an 8 million contract. And why you do this? Why do you just blow it out, and you just on this thing also. That's why the why, which is the question mark, is like, maybe it was orchestrated from the beginning, and that's the thing that's it's probably being investigated behind the scenes, which is like they want to know where the money comes from, who are the customers, why. The one question is, why was White Specialties, when I first contacted them in 2011 with a cash payment of $5 million and buy 100 containers of cheese, why they didn't just took the order straight away? Why they made me go to Fort Lauderdale and buy from Sunny Morning, and then why Sunny Morning, once I placed the order, they twisted, they tried to really change the price when I was paying. I was with my check physically. That was the second company I did business. Then why then later on this company from Texas show up in Dubai? And that's also one of the questions they made. You know, where did I met that? I was in Dubai. It was not even in the USA. That's why this is more of a federal court, and there's international. There's how, you know, there's the Dubai police need to investigate how they managed to be in Dubai. What were they doing? Because now there's a lot of question marks. There's a puzzle. I mean, who are the Williams? What do they do? Like, why what you know, what's the whole thing about, you know? And then so anyway, so and then obviously I explained to them the problem in Dublin, what happened to me in Dublin, that I was escorted by 3 police officers. There was a tour of the police when I was splitting. Like, now they want to know what motives that John Rafter had to really have the balls to really attack me and steal all the invoices. That was all the because the looting happened physically, it was face to face in my office, is when I started to be aggressive, approached by this man, and he was getting my documents that he wanted, the files, and then he was doing his conversations on the side, and then when things start to go crazy, and so, and then when I split and he's violent, and then the police helps me, and then you have all this the problem that initiated there. So that was Texas. Okay, so And then probably next week there's going to be a new round of calls that they're going to contact them, give them like a one last chance for them to get it sorted out. So to see is that because it's just make the wire transfer. Like my contracts, they're very friendly. It's like termination of contract. It's very friendly. It just means I'm not even questioning the entire mass. I'm not questioning the mass. I'm not questioning like if you like me, if you don't like me, if you like I'm done. I accept the terms because the initiative of terminate the contract came from the defendants. All of them, they have the same line of conduct. Okay, Texas Cheese, the Jamie Williams, he is the one who terminated the contract, not me. Alexandre Almeida, Slate Brazil, with Brian Phillips and Anthony Pucci in the USA and in Brazil, they are the ones who terminated the contract, not me. Valai Limpishavai, Uchana, and in Thailand, they are the ones who chose to terminate the contract, not me. And now the last one, now we have one more case, which is the Paulo Pinto in South Brazil, that I placed 200 containers order. They shipped 6, and then you have all the sabotage, and they happen again. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this, And so they are the ones who are terminating the contract, not me. So there's the main element, which is I'm the guy who set up the business. I'm the guy who created. I'm the guy who generated all this prosperity. Like everybody's enjoying the results. And at some point, instead of simply committing to their part of the agreement, which is paying my commissions and let me do my work because I had a lot of work. It's not that I'm sitting on my desk and just checking like what's going on and getting the payment. No, I was following logistics, talking to the customers, doing the packing. There's a lot of work, and they just cut me off totally because they wanted to hunt my income. But the thing is that my income, it's a company everybody knows. I think that's a good thing that I love on the attorneys group is that because we do understand our costs ourselves. Sometimes I assume that maybe attorneys may be even harder to charge their fees because it's mostly service an hour. Me, I still have the pragmatic, which is the object, the product itself. And but it's like we do have traveling costs, packaging costs. I have to pay the lawyer fees. I have to pay banking fees. I have to pay rent. I have to pay travel. I mean that's a lot of intellectual work. I had one like this guy in Brazil. He even say that you never paid for the packaging, so that packaging is mine. I mean, you're talking about 200 kilos of plastic. You talk about what, $50? Or you're talking about the contents? No, those contents, they're worth $20 million because I sell $20 million of that rice. So I mean, I really I mean, it doesn't make any sense what you're saying, but basically as they are also stealing, it was confirmed to me. I will go there when you talk about Brazil and Thailand, because there were more evidences of problems this week. Okay, Thailand. The problem this week, a new client. They get inquiries and leads all the times. Everybody. So in this case, sometimes when you start to negotiate, it comes a photo. Okay, so that happened again this week. So this customer said, okay, I want this rice. It's one of the brands. It's the garden rice. I don't have it here. It's the gardens. It's red. I have it there. I'll show you another opportunity. Okay, that's a garden rice. And so he's saying that, I just bought this. What's the price? Because I know you're this manufacturer. So how can what's the best price? Usually, what I do is that I don't sell to those guys. So usually I would contact the supplier in Thailand, and I would say, God, want to quit. Okay, I would manage not to, but now they're coming and it's chaos. So anyway, so I'm selling the best rice to him, and that's something else we're doing in a new supplier, because now I am developing new suppliers with new terms and everything. So so that happened in Thailand. Okay, and related to the criminal lawsuits that are being they're being processed there. Another problem, Brazil. Okay, Brazil. Is being done this week. The local document of the 7-day demand letter. Okay, I have tried to file a police report through here. I couldn't. I may go to Brazil soon, and then I will file there. I need to file in the local polices and at the federal police, which is the police that does international, where I'm going to put all the paperwork. In Brazil, there's 4 defendants. Okay, one is this late guy who made the looting last year. The other guy is the attorney, because the attorney, he made all that threat on that email. It's associated to Alexandria, but those are 2 different cases that I had to explain to the police, because one is the actual theft that the guy did, this late manufacturer guy, and the other one is this attorney that made that particular email by the time I was being looted. So that's being reported to the law association in Brazil. So they may have a look on his license, how what's the case. Sometimes he's not even an attorney, like we never know, because somebody to risk to do. It's something that I have only seen doing business in Brazil, because I have all my career, I have never ever seen an American attorney, an Argentinian attorney, an European attorney, or in Asia now, I have never seen an attorney make a document like that so easy as they do in Belo Horizonte in Brazil. Because that's the second or the third time I see attorneys from Belo Horizonte doing that. And so quick, they prepared this document where they just say whatever they want with attorney. I'm an attorney. I'm signed, and I'm declaring this and this and this and this, and usually that scares foreigners a lot. Like in the USA, they get scared because an attorney, an American attorney, writing a letter. Because one thing is me as the plaintiff. It's me as the plaintiff, saying that, like, I'm still a civilian, I'm still a businessman, so I'm still, but an attorney is like, if an American, if you see that from an American attorney, is like, wow, what is this? What's this? It's a lot. Maybe in Brazil it's about, in the US, that was used in the USA. It was a document made by an attorney in Brazil in English, was made for the USA. That's why on the Brian Phillips, Anthony Pucci, Elaine Gerber, and Alexandra made a group, like it's a lot of American Brazilian fraud, because both of them, they kind of work in cooperation to each other. And then you have the High Point market, why they're not doing anything. There's also the Plano Chamber of Commerce, in Texas, why they're not assisting the problem, because I was a member myself of the Plano Chamber of Commerce in Texas, and then I am the one who made Wisconsin Finance become a member too. So, and I'm the member who invited. And then once you have a case that one member just start doing all these crimes online, and then the Chamber of Commerce did have the power to really put us together and try to get it sorted out. But no, they did the opposite. They just sent an email saying that, we haven't, just please stop being like. So anyways, the market is rough. Okay, the market is very rough, and it has never ever been so rough as it is nowadays. Okay, it's for everything. It's not only for my business, it's for everything. If you see fake news, whatever, politics, it's all rough. It's very rough. So also here. Okay, and that was one thing. Thailand, Brazil. Okay, unfortunately, there's one more new case. I tried as hard as possible, because I'm very loyal to my suppliers. I only work with one supplier. I understand the efforts they do. I understand the efforts I do. So I put it all together, we ship, and they make it happen. Okay, so, but that happened, that unfortunately this past 4 weeks I put a lot of pressure in Brazil to make them talk and understand really what's going on there, why those additional 13 containers were never shipped, why in March they took 5 weeks to give me a bill of lading and they came wrong, why they sent me the original documents for me to do the banking procedures, they were not complete, why I need to do additional documents myself, why I need to do, like, why that I need to count with the United Kingdom steamship line here, their offices here, to negotiate with the Brazilian CMA for them to ship to prepare the bill of lading, and that took like 5 weeks. And then after that, there was more problems. There was this mysterious case that I wired the $20,000 to them. It was one hold somewhere between an American banker of Citibank and the Brazilian banker there. Forgot the name of the bank. I think it's Itaú. I forgot the name of the banker. Who was this banker working for? But anyways, it was 5 weeks there, and then they hold the whole thing. Like they hold the entire processes for like 2-3 months, and then it was June, July, and then they have these gaps that they just don't talk, and you're like for 4 weeks sending what's happening, they don't talk, and then with all the pressure I put in the past 2 months, especially the past 1 month, I got some responses, and those responses actually basically just confirm. When I was doing business with them, I got warnings from others there in the market that, are you sure you're doing business with Polo, because they have a bad reputation here and this, and I like, at the same time the market is very rough, and so that's what I fish. Okay, it's been like that for 10 years now. It's really rough. Okay, everybody, but how come? That's out there in the business world. It's really rough. And you see that I have problems. It's like 1.5 years problems that maybe 20 years ago they'll be solved in a couple of weeks. Now they're taking 2 years to get solved, and time passes by, and usually, obviously, the criminality just gets worse, because now you have maybe 1 year, additional year, that all these gangsters that have been successful what they did, because my company was looted about June, so with November, like 1.5 years ago, like 12 months ago, and all these gangsters, they're just working. I mean, they're doing whatever they suppose they wanted to do. So they should have been stopped straight away, like in June, in July, and that was not possible. Anyway, so that's one. Another one is the rise to Brazil. This is happening too in Brazil. We're doing the local documentation in Portuguese. I have residence in Brazil too, so we're filing through a colleague. He's notarizing. It's in Portuguese. It's a local with my Brazilian address. So now it is an official, only Brazilian document, where a residence in Brazil and a resident there. So it's going to the attorney, and it's going to the defendant there. So it's in Portuguese. It's notarized. It's an official with witnesses, where we file them to them. Once again, it's the fourth or fifth time this man receives the 7-day demand letter and the termination of the contract agreement, and nobody understands why you just don't pay. Why? Because I sent them the bill that was July last year. Because this is something everybody has to understand. The defendants, okay, they are coming with complaints about me, but they don't mention one detail. All these complaints, they come after they ignored my 7-day demand letter, and that's maybe not only 7 days, maybe 1 month after. So I mentioned to them, you have to pay, and they're like, and they started replaying these games. They don't have to pay, and then I like, okay, why? I would just delete his from my phone, and it's gone. That was the idea they had. It's like, no, there's a real word behind this. The word's not only this. There is a real world. This is just communication. You don't delete something and the problem is solved. But there is something fashionable now that everybody, I just delete and block, and I'm gone. I don't have to pay $45,000, and I'm here, and now I am the phone myself. I'm just a new contact. I have this beautiful picture, I'm sorry if I like it like this. There's a Alexander. He puts his wife or his child. I'm a father of a family. I have a child, and I'm here. But that's not. I mean, you really have a real uh, life. Okay, John Rafter, for example, he did all this laundering, all the criminal activities, using the phone that I gave to him to work. It was a brand new phone. Like I tried to work with this guy for 9 months. I mean, I spent a lot of time. I gave a lot of investment. I trained him. I educated. He did not know anything about exports. Alexandra and Almeida, the invoices this guy uses, I created them in 2005. He was my intern. He started his exports career as my intern. I was 28 years old. This guy was like 24. He was still studying, or I was 26, I think, and he was 24. Like, he didn't speak English, almost nothing. I speak English, Italian, Spanish, and I was working for an Italian company there, and like, so I gave him all the training. I explained he was doing the operation. Like, nobody understands why he took the decision to cut me off, steal my contacts, and do this laundering the information. We do understand the pressure that Anthony Pucci and Brian Phillips put, because I remember that they put this big pressure that to cut me off, and then when Brian Phillips shows up, and then he says that, oh, with their clients are requesting Augustin to be removed from the supply chain, and I was shocked, because Brian Phillips is the person that I was really terrified, because he knows who I am, he knows what I do, he knows that I gave this opportunity from him. Like, usually when we have this hearing, if he shows up, okay, because I believe if this case follows, that this guy may even live to Canada or something. He lives in the border of Canada. I don't know, because like, if this guy, he has to answer the questions. Like, it's bad. Brian Phillips is the worst of all, and I was shocked. I had print screens of everything, and anyway, like how he twisted, and wow, that's why I assumed that maybe he was under influence of any substance, because I do not want to say, I am not saying anybody is doing. I'm just saying that me, as a sales guy that work with people all my life, I know some behaviors. Like John Rafter, I knew he was a former drug addict. I know once his wife insisted that I should hire him, we spoke about that, and she swear to God, she asked me to give him an opportunity, and then I gave him this opportunity. Unfortunately, after 9 months, was not possible to really handle. But it is very common, unfortunately. It's a problem that is very, very common, and that sometimes when I try to understand why Anthony Pucci and Brian Phillips, they had the real balls to really do what they did against me, all this desperation for the money and to get the cash and to get the contract and the $22 million and the whole thing, because this is extra energy. I imagine that maybe they are under influence, because I try to understand really, and through the phone it's distant, you don't see him. But anyway, so that's the case. In that case, so that's the lawsuits this week. I don't think well, I have also this one. The invoice is past due, the general statement, okay, on the social media stuff, okay. Everybody who is following, okay, the case, it didn't start by me, okay. It started by the Congress in the USA. It was public scene. Not everybody, but who follows politics, who follows law, and so that happened about over a year ago. Is when Mark Zuckerberg did trial. I was shocked and terrified. I did not know it was so bad. So following that whole thing, and also how they changed the platform and all that, how they started to control, suspend, and how they're twisting everything, saying that if you don't have privacy, it's because you're not paying for privacy. If you don't have now it's the control of speech, that whatever you're talking, the problem is not the whole thing. The problem is that you were saying this, and this is bad. So they're twisting the laws again. Unfortunately, that's how they are. They probably started that way, so that's not going to end. It's just going to get worse if the authorities do not really put a stop on the internet business. That may happen. I think I don't see any other. I used to say this like for 10 years already or more, that I believe the whole internet is just like cars. When cars started 100 years ago, it was this mess. How many people were killed in accidents, and now cars are strictly controlled. You have to have insurance, a plate, the belt, this, a license must be plastic. It's going to be the same thing for the internet. And some things are very obvious, like the internet. It's a media company. It's media. Most of everything on the internet is media, and it has to be regulated as media, because all the other classic media companies, TV stations, newspapers, magazines, they are terribly damaged by the internet. And now you go to classic newspapers like Washington Post, New York Times, like classic ones, like I wouldn't say a name specific, but you go and they're like, you read this beautiful article written by a journalist on a proper classic newspaper, and it says, please give us some donation here, like encyclopedias. I used to sell encyclopedias. That was my first job, and then now it's Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is like, please ask us for donations. When I was selling Encyclopedia Britannica, it wasn't like that. There was no ask for donations on Encyclopedia Britannica. They were expensive. People would buy them. They will be on the living room. It would be this object there. There's everybody will be proud to have an encyclopedia at home. And that means you've been also paying for that, and you're also entitled to use it. And maybe even could be a very good gift to somebody. Now you have it online, everybody can see, everybody can write. A lot of times the contents are not really trustable, it's very pragmatic, it's very easy to access, but it's not regulated at all. And now they ask for donations, please give us some money, so these things, they should be regulated from the beginning. And life was already like that 20 years. Like we went backwards 5,000 years in history, I think, because this is savagery how things are being done nowadays. And so on the case of the Mark Zuckerberg, okay, so I did more paperwork this week. I sent more letters. I did more notifications. Every move I do, something is. In my particular case, my problem is with Facebook media. Why? Because that's where I end up being more involved. But the logic is the same for all of them. So I also have YouTube, I also have Instagram, I also have Twitter, I also have Tinder, okay, which is a dating net. All of those, Alibaba.com, for example. Alibaba.com, today I was explaining a client and a colleague here, what happens with Alibaba.com is that it was a directory 20 years ago that would just find a supplier, a price or something. Now it's just very complex and very complicated, what they call platform. And they charge memberships, and I pay Alibaba about $2,000 a year, or 2,000 every 2 years. It's a lot of money, and to be an official registered member and as a supplier. And the problem is, it's when you try to use this, I just want to initial contact and go to the phone and an email. I don't want to be stuck on Alibaba platform doing a million things. And then now Alibaba is giving you a lot of advertising. They're charging the membership. There's all this chat. So everything is using. I know because I also work with media, roughly as an advertiser, all my career as a sales guy. So I have been to TV shows, and they do have every TV show. They have this big computer behind the scenes when they're checking how many people are watching, and that means a lot of money for media companies. So that's the logic also behind the IT, the social media, the everything, that they want you to be connected to the page, because they make more money the longer you stay there. You may buy something, they may get a commission. You may click on something, they get some cents there because you click, which is also another problem. That's mostly Google problem. The Google, he pays the advertiser 5 cents, but he charges the advertiser €5. Something like the balance is so like they pay 5 cents and they charge €2. It's a markup of a massive markup, and and that's one thing. And then so at Alibaba, social media, Facebook, Instagram, all those companies, YouTube, they want you to be locked there as long as possible. The same way TV channels used to do years ago, back in the 90s. You be watch CBS, you be watch TV show, like NBN, CBN, like BBC, whatever. Like so, they'll be competing to each other, and there'll be a technician. They'll be, oh, we have 90% of the viewers now. It's the same thing, but mostly on the internet now. But they're not doing that the honest way. Number one, they're not paying for content creators, and they had never paid, and that's why shame on the United States, because they allowed this innovation to start. Now it's a necessity. The techniques that the IT world used to market their objects, their products, was the same as drug dealers do. They give it for free as long as you want, and then at some point, once you are addicted to it, they come with the bill, and you need to pay to do. What most of people do not understand is that this was made on a global scale, because the investors behind social media, they were multi-billion-dollar people. That does not mean that they only invest on bad things. It's not, oh, billionaires, they're all bad. They're not. That's a case. I'm not saying $1 billion. I said that particular case. They invested on something that's the same, follow the same logic as drugs, and so they give it for free. They gave it for free for 10 years, which is the question mark everybody had. That was not only me. Everybody, well, why is this for free? It's for free for 10 years, like. And then you have these rumors that you have to pay Facebook. You don't have to pay Facebook. It's free. It's not free. But it was, well, what is this? Why do they make their money? And then it comes that they're even selling your private data. They were trading everything. Now Google calls pictures and things assets, and you have no idea what they do with your assets. And that's part of my case with the Zuckerbergs. Is like they suspended my initial Facebook channel, and which was my name, my person, because like here, see, this is me, okay? You see, this is me. You can see. So they just took possession of everything without my warning, without a chance for me to download and save. They just took everything, and they say it's a mistake, and then you try to have a negotiation. If there's no negotiation, just like a frozen screen. So that's all against the law, whatever. But anyway, so I filed more paperwork, and that was filed by post and filed by email and everything. So it's there. It's on the bureaucracy and the attorney senators, or whoever is in charge of that. But we're still working and building this legal team. So those things, they go back to normal. There's a lot of things going on, fortunately. Maybe I finished this. I don't think. Oh, the best thing. Okay, I finished the legal part. Okay. Again, it's a dark age. It's a time in history that is really bad. There's a lot of bad things happening. So you cannot really blame the sales guy that you only fish bad things. It is a bad time in history. The market was not so rough 10 years ago, and way less rough 20 years ago. Nowadays, it's like on the business world, it's definitely scary, because you just want to sell, and sometimes you have some comments and you have some feedbacks and some questions. It's like, wow, you're getting sold. You go to the market. I'm talking B2B, okay? And then you get insults. Like I had like this guy in the Caribbean saying that, oh, this is made of plastic, and like in my face, and I was like, so I've never seen the market so rough as it is today. Talking about rough, let's talk about Saint-Martin. The name is very sophisticated, Saint-Martin, but it is a rough place. also follows the entire logic of globalization. So every country in the world has adapted globalization differently. Okay, so you have different scales of globalization. Unfortunately, the Caribbean, they were already fragile countries, and then they have the hurricanes. With all this globalization, they also had the freaking hurricane 2 years ago that devastated the entire island. Okay, on the looting that I suffered last year, I ended up stuck with one container of rice in Saint Martin in Philipsburg, which I'm not sure if I spoke already in a different video, but I'm trying to sell this for 1 year now, and it's really rough. It's rough. I've been robbed 3 times, and I managed to get the product back. That they robbed me again, and I managed to salvage the product. And the last case was extortion. So the company that has the inventory, that has this rice I can't, nobody pays for this rice in the island, and I try and I just don't pay. It's a story. They always have a story, but it's like, just pay. I'm just saying, pay. I'm selling half the price. It's a deal. I sell rice all my life. Like, I sell this for 10 years, 12 years. How come? I mean, it's just rice. I mean, you can do millions of. You can do flour with that. You can feed animals with that. You can make bakery. You can cook with that. You can make a soup with that. It's millions. I can do recipes, but I can't go to the next level. Everything's stuck. Negotiation. Because part of the chaos nowadays, the market is so rough, is that everybody wants to be a negotiator, because that's the trendy career now. And no matter what you do, from an attorney to a doctor to an art, like, everybody's a broker, is a negotiator, because the money is on the trade, not on really making anything. It's trading, not producing. That has been the logic of globalization. Everybody wants to be a broker. Everybody wants to do the deal, wants to make the cash deal, the negotiation. But then it came to a point that's like, it's all negotiation, and they forget practical. And then practical things, they just do it like, it's crazy. But anyways, it's a simple product. I was selling half the price. I have clients in other islands. I have clients in other countries. They want the product. And then that was the case, that why this ended up going to the police. It's like one more, I sent it to the police in a way to stop the extortion, and I managed to get that controlled, because they were just extorting me, asking for money, and then but sabotaging the sales, because I sold the product like 4 times. I sent somebody there to buy the rice, and they come back saying, oh no, because the owner of the warehouse told them not to go see the rice, because the rice is no good, the rice is this. What game these people playing? I'm paying the rent there, and I send the customer, they tell the customer not to buy. But then it got really bad is when I sold it for export. Then I have clients in Africa waiting for the product. I make the paperwork to ship it out of Saint Martin, and they sabotage the paperwork. The paperwork doesn't get finished, and like, this is just unbelievable. And then you're talking, it's a multinational, CMA CGM. They're based in France. They have an office there. Like, what's going on? Why you guys cannot finish the paperwork? So we ship this out of the country, because the owner of the warehouse is not signing the paper, is not allowing them to do it. And then I'm listening this on one line, talking to and then on the other line, there's the owner of the warehouse. They're saying, oh hey, send me $500 because I'm going to dump this right. So on this war, and then I go to the police and I explain the problem, because I did business there, because I have some sort of presence there, by the fact that it is European Union. So it is France and Netherlands. It's an island that is half independent on the Dutch side, and it's French on the French side. European Union use even euros there, and it's local. So I was also there solving these problems for like 6 weeks, and it was just unbelievable. Ended up in the police. So this week there was more negotiations on this, because with all this drama, I just gave it away to say, okay, let me just donate this rice and involve the international community to help. So I give this rice for free. But the market is so rough that it's been 1 year and all. It's again, it's like wow, this is November and all. I only managed to have $200. I'm asking for $20,000. Only $200. $200 is like 10 bags of rice. And I've been speaking to, you name it, from the Zolsbergs. Okay, there are trillionaires from Miami to um, poor people in India, in even in San Martin, in other countries, in Togo and all that. So the last campaign was seen for 45,000 people. I posted on Facebook Media as an advertiser, and it shows the result. If they're real, which I assume they are real, because I don't think things are that bad that they would just put any name. That was seen for 45,000 viewers. It was clicked by 1,500 viewers, and when they click on the link this time, they'll go straight to the pay page in GoFundMe. Not even one deposit of $6, and that's just a beer. And I put customers too. I put America, Canada, like Australia, United Kingdom. So I put like countries that they're more familiar with the internet, the credit cards they could do, and no deposit at all. And I have so it is rough now, you know. So at the same time, I don't like GoFund. I don't think GoFund has a very good um, logic, because it's a charity thing, but it comes with GoFundMe. It should be charity, not finance me, fund me, because it's not me. You're not funding me. I'm not selling me. I'm selling the problem. And also they have their fees. Something that I got that was complaints about GoFundMe is that maybe somebody just want to put $1. I mean, if you're doing charity, you don't put the minimum value, and they have this thing that's $5, and they ask for an additional to pay like tips if for the workers of GoFundMe. So I think that's also a big part of the problem, you know. But anyways, so with this result, then there was an email from the owner of the warehouse. I'm not sure exactly what we spoke. That was where we could go with them, and then oh, this is what happened. One of the old emails was somebody from CMA CGM, Libya, or no, or Phillipsburg. They said I think they read one of the old emails, and they replied to everybody saying, please, what's happening, remove me from this. And then once they did that, oh no, let's put this back on stage. So I answered him back and said, no, this case I can't, because it's criminal. It's also criminal. It's also being investigated, the whole thing. And unfortunately, to put it all together, all the paperwork, and go over the history about what happened and what happened, how this is still there, how was the reaction of the San Martin police, how was the reaction of the Dutch police, how was the reaction, how they managed, why is this happening, why nobody already paid for that, why, you know, like it's crazy. I had even when I was in that island, I had the Minister of Finance. I met him, so it's like I have a lot of people to thank, because I remember I was not in this 6 weeks in this island face to face without any help, and I did have help. And I remember this gentleman, he's a politician there, and he arranged meetings with the Minister of Finance of Philips, St. Martin, is somebody who's on the Amsterdam, Philipsburg, and somebody who manages millions of dollars. So we spoke. What we could speak was like be 15 minutes with a quick introduction. So, but that it was there. We had the meeting with the manager of the suppliers from the state there. What I'm saying is that it's a small country, but the position is important. It's somebody who managed all the supplies for the government, and he said, "Oh, this could be purchased for the jails, because it's we're going to use it to feed the jail." So that was one. There's owners of supermarkets. There's owners of this and this. The only difficulty to sell was because the bag was too big. So it needs to be fractioned and put in small bags. But there was something also that I tried to develop there, which is to put in small bags. But anyways, it goes so long, nobody pays, you know. But now I see is also the market all over the world is really, really rough. This is possibly one of the roughest times in history, and it's because of the internet. The internet was this hurricane that just opened the doors of privacy and everything all over the world. And I was like 10, 15 years of this, and it's like, and we're just waiting for the, I believe, the American Congress to put an emergency stop on the internet, and things try to slowly come back to normal. And then obviously there's the compensations, and that's, we go back to to the campaign. The voice is passed. So this is my statement again. Okay, that's the statements. All social media. That's t-shirts. Everybody talk about it. Super interesting. This is a top sale legal um, service. Okay, and so we're working on that. And then the good news now, despite the legal stuff, 15 minutes of legal stuff, is that uh, 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 I, I managed to, almost there. It's a very good agreement with a new supplier, Vietnam. So I may just do all the rights, all the tuna in Vietnam until the situation in Thailand gets solved. Brazil, I do not really know. I think Thailand, maybe there is some hope. Uh, but Brazil, I do not know really. Brazil, I do not know. America, I do not know. And Portugal, I think it's gone to. Unfortunately, Portugal doesn't seem they have a banking system. We go back to the problems we have in Europe, in America, and Brazil, which is the banking system is broke, the legal system is broke, and the media is chaos. So without these three elements, nowadays it's really hard to really operate, because if you don't have banking working for you, if you don't have a proper legal, like the proper legal, what I mean is that everybody know how hard it is to do lawsuits. I mean, they should be more simple. We should just go and have a judge and get the things sorted out, not be talking for 1 year about a problem, because and then the problem just gets worse. So at least you just go and then you do the lawsuit, and then you finish and you come to an agreement, and you're like, and then that's why it's a lot of crime, because if the time passes by, it turns into criminality. That's why going back to Texas, because they're like, the police, they get frustrated, because they're like, wow, you go there with a police statement that you see that, because the police statement, the report, shows that I'm genuine, that I'm there, I'm the guy who did that I'm the guy who, and then it's something like, I would be scared if I embezzle somebody. Then I have a police report saying, but maybe they do not understand. I don't know really, but like, it's something like, please do answer back and do get the problem done, and it keeps going. And maybe because there are attorneys on their side saying, oh, you don't worry because he didn't sign a contract. We had that happened with Thailand. There was an attorney who made that. He made this attorney on the defense, from the defense, that he sent this out, but there was nothing signed saying I had to pay. And like, there was another guy that, the guy in Brazil who made that crazy wacko, saying all those accusations and threats, like. So anyway, so let's finish that. And then, so now with Vietnam, okay, so I may get this good agreement, and then we go forward. And then we go transfer all the production there, we concentrate there until the other cases they move, and until we see. And but let's see how it goes. And then it's going to be I can be back to what I do, which is ship all this food. That's one thing. These lawsuits, they're marketing related, and then I have the obligation to go through them. And unfortunately, the defendants were not friendly, and but it goes, and that's very important. That I think this is growing, and it's growing. But still, I need to develop the proper legal team, and that's something that I'm trying to work on, some sort of strategy that we try to find shelter in this dark age. So everything's so dark, it's so dangerous, it's so rough, that we need to try to leave civilization, protect somewhere. So I'm wondering about even going to a new market when we're going to set up all our structure and we continue to work until all the turbulences come to an end. Because as you can see, usually what happens in Argentina happens in Europe and in America later. So you see that Argentina had this hope with the government that they were going to be uh, back to the old times, which relate a bit with all the hope everybody had with Donald Trump and with whatever in Europe. But what I'm saying is that it's not specifically about who Donald Trump is, but Donald Trump was elected, Macri was elected, Bolsonaro in Brazil was elected, Salvini was elected in Italy, and others, because there was this nostalgia about how the Western civilization was in the 80s, in the 90s. So that was a big key factor that made them be elected. Was this like, oh my god, let's just go back to the 80s, let's go back to the 90s, so let's bring Donald Trump, he was such a celebrity in the 90s, let's bring this guy back to stage and go back to those times. And that didn't happen, that's not happening. It's really, it seems it's too late. And it seems I think when you see politics in Ireland and you see politics in the USA, like it seems that it's not going to be good once Donald Trump leaves. It's going to be, it seems to be like it's going to be the end of the Western civilization. And it's just, it's going to be like the end of what we were used to. Like, I don't even know what term to give to Western civilization anymore, but it's going to be just like what's Mexico today, what is Brazil today, what's South Africa today. I have lived there, I lived in Brazil, so it's not the end of the world. It's just that America and Europe is going to turn it. That happens naturally, okay? It's not, it's sociology. It's not that there is a police officer, like an army. It's not that you guys go live here, you guys go live there, you go live there, and this is going. It just happens. It's already happening in Dublin. You can see that clearly happening in Dublin. It's called the white fly in the USA. It's called, it's movements, it's internal movements. So usually what's going to happen is that it's going to be a society of different tribes, and then usually rich and poor, and then there's going to be more urban life, and you're going to, then it's going to say, oh, Italy, I'm Italian. No, you live in the Italian quarter in Rome. It's so Rome is just going to be like New York or Bangkok. It's just going to be a name. It does not really mean Italians speaking Italian, and the Italian capital. Like, all Italy is going to be shrinked into neighborhoods. So there's going to be the Italian neighborhood in Venice, the Italian neighborhood. It happens naturally, and it's not a radical division. It's not that the Italians will be here, the Germans will be there, it's the French, like, it's mostly Italians. Will be Italian looking, it will be pizza, a lot of pizza restaurants, and then there's going to be another neighborhood. It's going to be all Muslim. It's mostly Muslim. Bangkok is already like that. New York City is already like that. Dublin, you have some Muslim supermarkets usually, so, but they're still a little bit discreet. But then once you go there, it's like, wow, they're huge, okay. And then it's, Dublin's more like a shifting, like the same neighborhood may look Irish or Muslim. It depends on the same day, because they have different habits. So the Muslims, they will go shopping on Friday. The Irish, they will go shopping on Saturday. Like, but it's not the end of the world. And unfortunately, that's what the powerful people in the world are doing, and that's how they expect. And so based on all of this, and I believe that we can still manage something on this process, which may be very confusing. We already have cases of looting in Dublin, for example, last year at the West Park. There was the first looting. There was also a guy that he goes with cars bumping, and when you follow the news, you don't feel represented on the news anymore because they talk about random stuff that you do not even understand what they mean. So based on this, maybe we created like a new sort of operation that we continue what we do without adapting, because I don't think it's prosperous. I don't think it's going to be prosperous. I think we're going just I think it's all the capacity I have, all the capacity a lot of friends have. I believe we can create a sort of a society that we continue to operate between ourselves on a certain standard without a lot of illusions that this is going to be better or worse, but still we keep some sort of structure that would try to stay a bit, have a safety distance of what's going on, a safety distance, because it seems it's going to get worse, and I do not believe that the transition between developed and third world is going to be as peaceful as it was in Argentina. In Argentina, there was a lot of protests for like 20 years. They're more aggressive. There are even older Argentinians that would even commit suicide in public. They would go to the main square in Buenos Aires. They would kill themselves in public. They did that in the 90s, asking globalization to stop. That was not respected at all. 2001, the country just blew up, and then this is when start the new age of underdevelopment, impoverished, and drug dealers and cartels, and what you see in Argentina now, and then the neighborhoods and the shanty towns, the favelas, the violence, the time you need to go all the time to go, which is very common in Brazil, is very common in Mexico, is very common in Miami now right now, but a lot of parts, but anyway, so that type of reality, and I believe maybe in the USA and in Europe may have some militias that I do not want to know about them. My personal, I do not, and I prefer to stay away. My particular case, I prefer to stay away. I do not want to really be involved on anything. I've been doing my part. I have been talking. I've been on the news in the Irish Times. I was in protests. I have been explaining. Like now, I'm telling what I believe. I tell you what I think, and I think that's my part. I explain. I say. I sell. I buy. I do everything. All my homework as somebody who wants the good of everybody, and I didn't get any opportunity. I had in 2014. I have a friend of mine. He made videos of me talking and explaining, because like, Augustin, you have, in this case was the Republican Party in the USA. He said, you have to be working for the Republican Party. You have to be the spokesperson of Donald Trump. You have to be the spokesperson of Pam Bundy. She's the Secretary Attorney of Florida. Like, that was I'm not sure about Donald Trump because it was too high, but to important people in Florida, that was presented, and they said no. The Irish Times, okay, that's Irish Times. I like the name, I like the logo, I like the history of the newspaper, and but I'm not in a position to say which one is the best newspaper in Ireland. But I think that's the biggest one. In 2000, 2 years ago, I was interviewed by them. There's another case. Okay, I sent them letters this week to answering back letters they sent to me about a case of defamation and slandering. I was there and I spoke. There was the Donald Trump campaign, was the inauguration of Donald Trump. I was interviewed by RTE, which is the radio station of the government of Ireland. I was invited to go to a talk show in Dublin. I was, but they didn't call me, but I was invited. I told them the other guys would go with me. They just became silent and quiet, and they never even give me a proper feedback why they didn't finish the invitation. And then the Irish Times, they sent this journalist. He interviews me. Who knows me knows that I do talk. So this is 1 hour talk. So, and this journalist, he made me several questions. All his questions were answered, and was not one or two. I would say like 10. So we spoke for maybe 40 minutes about maybe 5, 10 questions. They wrote an article about the inauguration day, or they mentioned my name. That does not really reflect anything that I said. They just put me as a wacko that wanted to make a movement and invite 100,000 followers, and I had this big project of persuading everybody in Ireland to go and vote for Donald Trump. That there was somebody in the group who was a Nazi. There was a guy that later I found out that all those guys gave false names. I was the only one who gave a real name. Anybody else was a false. We took photographs. They posted a picture of the bar. So it's like, I don't know. They interview me. I explain. I say. I do. I like. I'm there. I like. And they just posted whatever they wanted to post. And so I don't know. I just, so at this point I just stay away, because you already offered and you already say, like you see, it's like me on the food business, which is something very easy to understand, because I'm not talking ideas. I'm talking about objects. I'm talking about service, about working here, selling, and then people. So I don't know. It is a very dark time in history, and then that's why I believe like a secret society, an organization that makes sense, that we put everybody together. Will Who wants to join? Because you have the choice. It's like the Titanic. The Titanic is stuck. I think that's the Western civilization to me, and I'm in Belfast, which means that I end up in Belfast to talk about the Western civilization. It's the Titanic is just a stop. It's this, and that's why you see in Europe and America, like it's just feels like it's stopped, and life continues. There's other civilizations, there are others, there's weather conditions, then climate change, weather change, or temperature change. It's all the same at the end of the day, and everybody has their own reaction, and I am on those who want to jump onto a little boat and go. That does not mean I am better than anybody else. That's just what I want to do. And others, they want to be playing. I see in France, for example, I saw most of French people, they want to be like playing the violin or drinking the coffee and the cafe and enjoying, because I see that it is sad. I saw that in France, and they're like, just, what, let's just blow it up, and then they're just enjoying as if nothing had happened, and they're seeing France falling apart. And the others, they're just so everybody's reacting how they can, and in my case, I'm fighting. Okay, I am fighting. I'm going to be in my boat far away, but with all my paperwork and everything, and once the whole thing sinks, I'm going to go back and say, okay, this is my furniture, this is my porcelain, this is my watch. I know I may seem maybe horrible for some people, but that's my personality. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. If you stole, you have to pay. And I'm telling what to do. But if the captain does not want to listen. If the captain believes that he's going to save fuel, because I think that's what's happening. I think on society nowadays, that's what I believe it's happening. They want to save money, because now it's a price and scarcity mentality, and everything is going to fall apart because of that way of thinking. Once you start thinking too much about saving money and spending less and saving costs and making it cheaper, at some point the whole thing just blows up. As it happened in March, was this quarry. It was run by the Schwarzmans in Minas Gerais in Brazil. The quarry just the dams where they have all the water they just blew up, and then you have like all this tsunami of mud and mercury that was just that just destroyed 3 4 rivers like that. Billions of water, fresh water is all contaminated. So this is a astronomical disaster. Native American tribes just gone like, and the worst of all is that nobody talks about it. So they already changed the administration. Nobody was arrested, and then like nothing. I mean, I wouldn't say that nothing happened, but is it still like what to do now? And I know as a salesperson and who I am that I do know that for years there will be loads of people knocking that company's door, offering services, offering machinery, offering ecological technology, recycling water projects. So I know Minas Gerais, I know Brazil. If there is something, and everybody who knows me knows that I do not have a lot of patience with Brazil. Like I do not. The Brazilians sometimes because they talk to me and I get nervous because that's not my temper. But I do know that Brazilians study education and hygiene are two very important values for Brazilians. So usually Brazil is a country that everybody has beautiful teeth, everybody has beautiful skin, everybody has beautiful health because they do care about hygiene. They have a very good education. Like they do know everything about a lot of things. What happens is on there, once they want to put all that in practice, they can't. And then they go around and they start living on a very particular way, like living the moment, just believing like the moment that nothing's going. They have a very like sometimes maybe like a hippie, and they will be and that's what drives me nuts because I was like just let's use this potential for this and this, and you can't because they because the problems they have there, and so I know that at home and at school, and I know that has always been very important for Brazilians to have fresh water. Brazilians every weekend they love to go to the nature. They love to go travel to see a river, to see a beach, to go and to mountain, to sky. I'd say hiking so and to have a massive amount of fresh water and national forests and animals and Native American tribes all gone over the weekend, and like I know they've been knocking the door of that gentleman who ran that quarry for so many years, so many times, offering solutions for that. And so and then the whole thing happens is very sad, very frustrating, and then it's not even on the news. And now here in Europe, and everybody's talking about ecology and climate change, and nobody knows nothing about it. I mean, maybe not 5 months ago, because I do tell, like I'm telling on this video now, every time I meet somebody that was trying on the ecological thing, I tell this straight away. Do you know? Just Google Rio Doce, RIODOC, Google, sorry, search over the internet and find that. The last case was children. They were here across from the office. They were doing protests, and here a lot of children. And then I told them I find out who is the teacher here, and then she was there. Oh, hi, how are you? So that how old are they? Because first of all, I think they should be at least 16 years old. But the first is like, do you know about the Schwarzman's case in Brazil? What happened there? They were advertised on the banking magazines about how they managed to make the Rio Doce make $3.5 billion profit in 2016, I think, and all the damage. So going back to what we were saying, I see the same pattern in Europe. I see the same pattern in the USA. On a global level, is this price, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, and you get stuck. It's like, and it doesn't go to the next step, and at some point the whole thing is they just collide, as happened already in so many times in history. So I don't know. It's a very strange time in history, but okay, going back to LE Group, going back to this, I'm just like to explain the general scenario and the market, because once again, I am the sales guy. I'm the guy here. All these rights on this picture is all my product. All you see. This was all one shipment. And I was in this factory. This was in Rio Grande in Brazil, and this is a section of an advertising we made in Dubai at the trade show last year, and this is just a section of the advertising that I used for this new campaign. But here on the side there was pictures of this cheese, all the products I was selling last year. Okay, so look, well, very very good talking to everybody. I hope everybody's listening. I'll explain one thing. I am sending these videos on share only basis. This means I'm using the internet just to make this easier. This could be a conference call. 20 years ago, this would be a conference call. Now I do the video and you watch, who wants to watch. And this is not public listed. I do not care, because it's not possible to make nowadays. Even if I make it public, there's no way. Even if I show you, you can record with a, I show you something and then you make another and then you record me doing that. So it's here. So it's not. So this is already being broadcasted. But it's not that if somebody go with a search engine and they put my name, they're going to find this video. If they go to my profile on the internet, it's not going to be public, because there's three options. One is public, which is you find it, so it's something just anonymous and public. I mean, not anonymous, but public. Another one is unlisted. So this is unlisted. So this is only with a link. If I send you the link, you can see. So you won't find it searching. What I'm saying is that this is semi-private. This is a recorded meeting. I'm doing this by myself because this is the way business being conducted now. But a few years ago, there will be others in the same meeting room, and we will do this. That's how business is being conducted now. And so this explains how things are nowadays and today, this week, and that's it. I think there's not. I'm just finishing, and let's hope next week we have very good news, and I go to new talk about business instead of about problems, and we're going to turn all this around. It's just something that I learned. It's like everything is taking longer, costing more than expected. You think it's going to get solved in a couple of months, it takes like a couple of years. It's crazy, but that's life. Okay, so look, have a great weekend, and thank you. Introductions. There is a lot of associates. I call associates because associates like this term that it's associates, but what's your case? Different cases. I will make everything uniform at some stage. It may take a few months, few years, but once I really have things more established, I structure this on a standard method that I do send it monthly payments to everybody involved, and then you have just an account like just so many companies, and just move that way instead of nowadays. It's still very messy, and it's because I was attacked last year. Like I should have legal aid. The big picture is that I should have legal aid in every jurisdiction, because I was victim of crimes of stealing. I was robbed, so usually I'm entitled to legal aid, and that's why. But it's a lot of paperwork, it's a process, but I am entitled. That was my conversation with the police in Texas too this week, is that it's because the big picture why this is not working very well. It's because it's not civil. Like the nature of the problem is criminal. So it's not about me trying to be civil and the law attorney is trying to be civil. It's because the nature of the problem is criminal. So when you try to make it civil, it ends up not working. And now I can say that based on my experience. It's because I do this for 20 years, okay? And the problem is, as we dealing with sociopaths and people who do want, they did steal or they want to steal or they're, like they they uh, they they do not function very well with civil. They do not understand civil. They do not understand. It's like they will only react once the police knocks their door, once they have an official documentation from the police saying they have to present themselves on one day and to really talk about this. In most cases, this version of criminal that works with white collar stuff, usually they freak out because they do not want to have a criminal record because they know it's the end of their career. If you are a businessman and you have employees and you have obligations, you have loans, credit, and you have a criminal against you, it causes it causes you a lot of problems. It makes your life very difficult, but a lot of times it's just a wake up call that this is real once a police officer really shows up. And in most cases, companies like those, they have so many problems, and they're because if they cheat with me, they're cheating with a lot of people. So usually they're cheating with the tax, they're cheating with the, so usually they do not want to be busted because that's also I was talking about this to the police in Texas today, for example, this week, for example, because the cases are very simple. Once the police takes action, and in Thailand, in Brazil, in the USA, in Portugal now, it's very simple. They just go to those companies and they ask for the statements. And so, but that's done in court, I believe. Like the hearing, during the hearing, at some point, please show the statements. You want to show your innocence. You want to show you never stole. I mean, number one, why if you're not stealing, why you're not answering for 1 year? I mean, if you did business with this guy for so long, if he's there, he's sending all this email. I mean, how come you don't just answer this guy, say something, come with an agreement, tell him to stop on a normal way with a call, with a proper email, and with an agreement, with something and then why? So like, okay, so come with your statements, and then just come with the statements 2018, 17, the bank accounts they have, and then they show. So winning the case, I have no problem. The difficult part is usually is going for my compensations, because then they need to find what assets they have, what they don't have, where is what they did with the money, what they didn't. Usually they spend all the money. Usually it's easy money, so it just goes like they just spend it all. Like they buy a new car, they do a trip, whatever, and then they just lose all the money. But anyway, so let's finish. Okay, have a great weekend, everybody. And 1 hour and 23 minutes. I swear to God, I will learn to speak short and straight one day. I will learn one day, but it's a bit hard for me. It's an Irish gift of gab with the Italian tarantella. I think both mixes this who I am. All right, so best rice Le Group, best rice, best price. Okay, have a great weekend. Okay, and let's hope things get sorted out this week, and we have a very good end of the year. Okay, no more rough times, at least to me and my society. I'm giving up that whole word, but at least where I have a control, let's try to make things sane. Okay, have a great weekend. All right, cheers.